B'seches Bava Metzia. We're done with Bava Kama, now Bava Metzia. Theme was very nice last night. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for the theme. I'll say it online also. For everyone who participated, for Ellen, for organizing, for the beautiful gift. Thank you very, very much. This for the mitzvahs. And this shiur, this shiur is, it's still intact on my, on the side. Right. Now, the show is Nishmas of Imam Menachem ben Akiva, Nishmas was Bashalom Salbas Moshe, Elofu, Asas Tofu, Masrishan Malka, Shmuel ben Avram ben Yudis Bas Rivka. So, Bas Nechama.
And
Norman Crow. Bestoy. Lea Bastoma. Oh, Lea Bastoma. Chad Batsima. Besoch Shachol Yisrael. Yudis Bas Rivka said. And Besoch Shachol Yisrael. Now. Let's recap. We're in Gimel Amud Beis. We are please. We are 5 lines from the bottom line. From the bottom of the page, count about 5 lines from the bottom of the page of Gimel Amud Beis. Ela Asya Me'ed Echad. Let us just recap on yesterday. We had very interesting competition over here yesterday. And let's just review Rav Chiyah. Rav Chiyah made a statement which is a chiddush. Rav Chiyah wanted to say as follows. If a person claims against his friend, you owe me, let's say 800, and the person was kofer b'kol. The person said, no, I owe you nothing. I ain't done nothing. I owe you nothing. And eidim came, 2 eidim witnesses, which are the strongest thing around, or so we thought. They come and they say he owes him 50. So which means the guy is, I'm sorry to say, a liar. So now you make him be nishba on the other 50. Like modeh bemiktzas, right? Just like if a person is modeh bemiktzas and will admit it for half or part of it, that's a din Torah, which we have already explained very well, why he has to be nishba on the unknown part, on the missing part. So too says Rav Chiyah from Kal v'chomer, if this is true about modeh bemiktzas, his own hoidah, his own admittance, or the more, if his own admittance, his own confession makes him be nishba, take a shvua, we force him to take shvua on the unknown, questionable part, on the hidden part, so too by eidim. Eidim are for sure stronger, and eidim, if eidim are the ones who will let us know that he's chayiv shvua, that he's not chayiv, they let us know that he owes him 50, that he's lying at least about half, then of course he has to take shvua on the rest. That's Rav Chiyah's premise. That's Rav Chiyah's general idea, and he compared it to our Mishnah, which we'll also talk about today, but I won't repeat it now. Now, the issue was, as Tzvi was saying yesterday, if the guy is a liar, how do we believe him to take a shvua? Choshid HaMamoina is possibly, the machloikis, possibly Choshid HaShvuasa. Maybe if a person was caught red-hand lying, stealing, and what, how do you believe him about a shvua? We wanted to say, Hogufa, the Kal v'chomer wants to refute that. If really it's true that the Kal v'chomer, which is like Xeris HaKosov, Kal v'chomer works against logic many times, you should know. That's a yesod, big yesod, which I learned when I first went to yeshiva. Here too, Kal v'chomer tells you, no. If the Kal v'chomer is true, and eidim is above all, and the eidim statement would make him benishba on the rest, that is telling me no. A person who is suspected about money would not be suspected also to go to stoop that low and really be nishba l'sheker. That's what we wanted to say. Now, in order to say that eidim are above oido, we had to prove it, and we failed. In the chart I sent you yesterday, the chart was exact but not exact. Actually, maybe I should fix it. I have to make a confession myself. It's true that if you work by numbers, the amount of times that eidim are stronger, the amount of times that hoido is stronger is the same. But at the end of the day, hoido is at the end of the day, at the end of the tournament, really, you know the winner, you know who gets the trophy, who gets the golden cup, whatever, is the hoido. Why? Because when you have a situation of a person saying, I admit, I owe you $100, yeah? I borrowed last night, I borrowed from you in the siyum $100. Well, I didn't, yeah? $100 I borrowed, okay? And 2 eidim came and say, Mapitom, you didn't. We were with you last night, 9 o'clock in the evening, you did not. 2 eidim against the person's oido, saying, I do owe. Funnily enough, the person's oido is stronger than the 2 eidim. for reasons we explained yesterday. You can say it's like a mechila. You can say that the ne'emonus is higher. That's why it says kemea eidim dami. It's like 100 eidim. Although halachically 2 eidim and 100 eidim, the question that the ask in the achronim, 2 eidim and 100 eidim are really the same halachically. You know that. If one kat has 2 eidim and the other group against them is 100, numbers don't count. It's 2. It's all or nothing. Once it's 2. But lamaisa, the feel of it, I do remember it in the Rishonim, somewhere, I don't remember who. Mea eidim comes to tell me that hoidah of the person is stronger than eidim. It's like a super eidus. I know about myself as long as I'm not running away from din. I'm creating a din on myself on my money. Yeah, and we already explained the difference between this and the Chayiv Nisa. Then my hoidah is stronger than the eidim. So the premise, the idea that eidim are the strongest one broke. So how do you know? So back to square one. Hey, wait a second. We're back to being very skeptical about Rav Chiyah. Excuse me, Rav Chiyah. How do you know that just because a person's own admittance on half the claim makes him be nishba on the rest that he denies? Hold it. How do you know that the same would right away apply to eidim? No. His oido is stronger than eidim. And if eidim came and they're the ones who told us that he owes half, it does not necessarily mean that the part that he denies he needs to do shvuah about. That's where we're holding now. So far, recap of yesterday. Plus, says the Gemara, in our despair, we look for other sources. Ela atya me'ed echad. Oh, what does eid echad mean? What's the story about eid echad? We all know that what does an eid echad do? What, not it says shvuah. No, it says the rabbanon, shvuah d'oraisa. Says the Gemara, Uma eid echad she'en mechayvo imamoin. Eid echad cannot force a person to pay, right? If I say that Chaim Yankel owes me $100 and have one eid on my side, does Chaim Yankel have to now say goodbye to the $100? No. Yeah, one eid does not make you pay. However, as you said, and that's obviously one of the only 3 shvuas d'oraisa. Eid echad, says the Gemara it says in shvuas, you can see in the Rashi, lo yokum eid echad b'ishluchol oven u'chol chatas. Who deinu kam? Eid echad cannot make you pay, cannot make you die, cannot make you married. Yeah, ava l'shvua kam. The Gemara darshans that if one eid is on the side of the plaintiff against Chaim Yankel has to take an oath, has to take a shvua. If I say, Chaim Yankel, you owe me $100, and I have one eid that on my side testifying that you owe me $100, Chaim Yankel will have to take shvua of 100, and if he refuses to, then he's got a batil yid. He has to pay. Then he has to pay. So wait a second. Let's read again. Eid echad would not make him take out money out of his pocket, and yet makes him take a shvua. Eidim shemechayvin oisem mamoin. The eidim that are mechayev mamoin. Eidim, of course, mechayev mamoin. 2 eidim, they are super. Of course, 2 eidim against the person who denies and says, I don't owe, and 2 eidim say, you do owe. Of course, he has to give the money. And adin shemechayvin oisem shvua. Avada. So too, the eidim would be mechayvin shvua. Super duper. The kal v'chomer was not from hoidah to eidim. It was from eid echad to 2 eidim. And that's a nice, neat kal v'chomer. Says the Gemara, there's a very big difference here, which I don't know if you noticed. Rejects the Gemara, 1 line before the last of Gimel Amud Beis. Maleid echad, it's a completely different mechanism how the shvua works. Maleid echad sheken al mashu meid hu nishba. The eid echad, what is it that you swear on? On the $100 you deny, right? And the eid echad says, sorry, I saw you borrowing the 100. On those same $100, you have to take shvuah. You deny the 100, right? That's the topic. And the eid echad says, no, liar, says eid echad. I saw you borrowing $100 last night at 9. On that comes the shvuah, head on collision. Toima, no. By us, it's a completely different story. Toima be'edim shal ma shekofa hu nishba. No, the 2 eidim, you're inventing a whole new mechanism here. The Ritva explains, and Rashi also is in the same idea, it's not about who's more chom or who's more kal. It's different. Tell me, people, what does Rav Chiyah want to say? 1 second. I didn't explain chat yet. Rav Chiyah says, I claimed that Chaim Yankel owes me $100. Eidim are made on 50, and now you, Rav Chiyah, want to be mechayev me on the other 50 that the eidim did not talk about. That we didn't find in Eid Echad. In Eid Echad, we found Eid Echad says that I owe you $100. He saw it last night, $100 given in a green envelope. That's a discussion. On that, I have to be nishba. You want to invent a whole new thing. Says Rashi, why are you being so machmir with two eidim? You make him swear on the part that the eidim did not talk about. That we didn't find by Eid Echad. And again, the Rishon was happy to see it in the Ritva. Yeah, I'll say something offline about the Ritva and me afterwards. Yeah, I saw in the Ritva. The Ritva says it's not about Chomer or Kal. Eid Echad U'Shnei, which is different. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, Eid Echad, you have to swear on what the Eid Echad said. You invent a whole new thing, Rav Chiyah. The eidim were made on X. You want to be mashbi'ayim on Y. Oh, hold it. We never found that story, right? That's a problem here. So Eid Echad is not a good source. Yes, of the Eid Echad, both cases. Eid Echad, Chaim Zakiva Teichtal tells Chaim Yankel, you owe me $100, and everyone Eid Ellen, the big tzaddik over here. Ellen is made that Chaim Yankel borrowed from me last night $100. Chaim Yankel has to be nishba on the very $100 that the Eid Echad is talking about. That's what we find in the Eid Echad, and that's where it starts, that's where it finishes. You, Rav Chiyah, with all due respect, you want to invent a new thing, that by two eidim, they were made on what? On 50, the $100 in stake, $100 in the story, and the two eidim are made on 50, and I gave it already. Two eidim, I gave. 1 minute, the nitba, the accused, gave 50, because the two eidim can't fight against. Now, excuse me, they're dealing about the other 50, and I want him to make a shvua on the 50 that the eidim did not talk about. The eidim says, there's $100, we know about 50. We saw one $50 note. The other 50, we don't know. We're not in the story. You want to be mechayim on the other. I'm not saying you're wrong, but where's your source? You don't have a source from Eid Echad. Eid Echad is not the same system, not the same structure. You machmir more. You want to be mashbi on something that was not mentioned by the eidim? Whoa, that's kind of interesting, but you can't bring that proof from Eid Echad. There's automatically for sure not. For sure not automatic. If that was automatic, though, no, this is the cue. There's good. Rav Papa, therefore, is trying to, not trying his luck, trying to prove from Osi Migilgul Shvua de Eid Echad. What's Gilgul Shvua? Gilgul Galgel, I think it means to roll, which means Gilgul Shvua is a concept which we learn from Soito. It says when a Soito is brought to the Kohen with this whole scary ceremony in Beis HaMikdash, then Omra Hisha, Omen, Omen. She says Omen twice. Why Omen twice? You're not supposed to say Omen twice. I'm serious, halachically. It means to say, let's say I brought somebody, Chaim Yankel, a good friend, which I like to be Toveh, I'm joking, yeah? And now the Eid Echad, you owe me $100. I have one Eid on that, okay? Now Chaim Yankel has to take an oath, open Sefer Torah. And then I say, you know what? Either Beis Din says, or I say, Mechlokas Rishonim, you know Chaim Yankel? You remember that a month ago, I was to tell you another $500, and he completely denied, yeah? So he doesn't have to even take Shvuah Midoraisa. Now I can roll one on top of the other, which means it's like a chain reaction. Says the Torah, if a person is halachically chayiv shvua, and there are other claims against him, and those other claims, I cannot be mechayiv shvua, no Eid Echad, or maybe it's a karka, and ishbon al korkois. If you chayiv one shvua, that triggers off, and I can now be mechayiv you other shvuas as well on things that as of themselves would not be chayiv shvua. That's a soito. Let's say the husband suspected his wife a few times. She's not the tzedekes from Bis Yaakov, and the husband suspected her that she went with the plumber and the mazgan guy and the banker, lo leinu, and erusi nisuin. So now he finally got the private detective, and there are two eidim. Two eidim saw them going into the hotel room, her and the new friend. Oh, now she's chayiv shvua. Now she has to be nishba on other stories as well. Yeah, on other. Don't like to say that you use the word affairs, yeah? The other in 1 second. Oh, we didn't even begin. We didn't even begin the question. Says the Gemara, listen, you're telling me that Eid Echad, no, can only, we rejected the proof. Eid Echad can only be Mechayev Shvua on those very same $100. Not true. If Chaim Yankel against me, and I tell Chaim, listen, $100, there's one aid that's mechayiv you, and he's nishba, I can be mechayiv now on other claims from last year, from 10 years ago, on other money, on other things. So you see that Eid Echad can be mechayiv people, not just on his current shvua, current money, also on other disputable money, disputed money. So from here we can learn to two eidim. Same thing over here. There's one guy who denies everything, and eidim are made on 150. Let him be nishba on the other 50, on the remainder. That's what the Gemara wants to prove. I prefer to answer and then hear questions. Thank you. Answers the Gemara, no, a very, very stark answer. Back to the worlds of sports. Malagil Gul Shvua, the Eid Echad, it's not the same at all. It's not that Eid Echad can be mechayiv him the old debts to be nishba on. Sheken Shvua, Goreres Shvua. Eid Echad can be mechayiv Shvua. One Shvua is one wheel, one keg in the thing, one cog, I mean to say, in the machine that brings another Shvua. Which means like this. Eid Echad is not really more powerful than Shnei Eidim. Eid Echad cannot be mechayiv you on other monies. The Shvua that was evoked by Eid Echad, one Shvua can lead its other Shvua, the other friend. One member brings the other. Chaver mevi chaver. That's how it works, but it's not the power, the direct power of Eid Echad. Lahavdil, you know what that team won? Because it took steroids. You know why they won? Because they bribed the referee, the shayfet. That's why. In other words, Eid Echad is not really as so strong to be mechayiv on other monies. Eid Echad is mechayiv shvua. That's his stardom. Everybody knows. Every child knows. Eid Echad mechayiv shvua. Once shvua is there, the shvua brings its friend, the other shvua, and 10 other shvuas. But it's not within the power. Lo imatzinu that an aid can stam be mechayiv another shvua. And by two eidim, there was no shvua whatsoever. They were mechayiv money. There's $100 being disputed, right? Eidim were made 50. After they were made 50, Alan, he has to pay. Then there's another 50 disputable as much as before. We're in the dark. Who says it can be mechayiv shvua when not one shvua was in the Beis Din? If we have one shvua in Beis Din evoked by Edechot, by modeh bemiktzas, by Shabbat, whatever, then you can bring the other shvua. But if you don't have any shvua in Beis Din, mechites, you can bring another shvua. The mechanism is different. So we failed. So far, we did not manage to prove the two eidim, as strong as they may be, were made on the money of 50%. We did not yet prove, like Rav Chiyah, that they can actually bring a shavua on the remainder, which is still in dispute. We will prove it now. We're soon going to get to the crescendo, but not yet. Says the Gemara, listen to this unbelievable. The old player, Piv means his own eido, says the Gemara, Piv yochiach. Listen, you're asking me, when is it that we found that you discuss one kind of money and the rest of the money, the hidden part, is your nishba? Piv. What do you mean piv? Modeh bemiktzas. Look, modeh bemiktzas, I modeh on 150. The other 50 have to be nishba. So you see that exists. The same thing should be by eidim. Says the Gemara, what? What are you talking about? That's old hats. Mala piv sheken enu ba'akhosho. We already said that piv cannot prove to eidim because piv is stronger than eidim. Piv is no hakhosho. If I say I owe you $1 million, I better pay you $1 million, even if 100 eidim are against me, which means piv hoido is stronger than eidim. So how can you prove from piv to eidim? Says the Gemara. Now we're gonna have a ping pong. Eid echod yochiach sheyeshno ba'akhosho u'mechayiv shvua. Well, eid echod is weaker, or at least as weak as eidim. Yeshno ba'akhosho. Obviously, if one aid comes to Beis Din and another aid against him, not even mizimim. One aid says, I saw Chaim Yankel borrowing yesterday 100. Another aid says, no, he didn't. Of course, it doesn't have to take shvua. It's a tie. One aid against the other, which means the idea of being able to be mukrash, being deniable, as I would call it, is by eid echad, and that is not stronger than eidim. So look, eid echad is mechayev shvua. So to shnei eidim should be mechayev shvua. Says the Gemara, what? What are you talking about? Mal eid echad shekan al ma shemedu nishba. We just said no. Eid echad can only be can mechayev shvua on that same money that the eid is talking about. But But the eidim, no. You want to be mechadish a new idea that the eidim should be mechayivim shvua on something that he did not talk about. Then it says piv yochiach. Do you understand what's going on here? The Gemara is not repeating words. The Gemara wants to prove to you that between them, and that's what we're about to see, the person's own hoidah has a pro and a con, and the one eid mechayev shvua is a pro and a con. And I'll repeat it in my own words in English for you guys before we reach the crescendo and the maskana. Mitzad the structure of the shvua that we're trying to create here. If you're an architect, you want to create a structure over here. We want to copy the structure of who? Of modeh bemiktzas. Just like modeh bemiktzas admits regarding 150 and the shvua for another 50, that's what Rav Chiyah wants to construct here with shnei eidim. The shnei eidim are made on X, and he wants that to the guy, the accused, to be nishban Y. Oh, the problem is, how can you learn from hoidah? Hoidah is stronger than eidim because hoidah is iron. Hoidah is stronger than anybody else than eidim. It's an ace. It's a joker card. But that I'll bring eid echad. It's true that eid echad doesn't have the same structure. Why? Eid echad is you only made on the same money that you spoke about. But eid echad is as strong as eidim. Eid echad, or even weaker. Yeah. Eid echad is also deniable, just like they're deniable. So between them, they created the team. You know, in our lahavdil, the game we play, both teams play against one and they win. Look at the Gemara's words. The chazar adin. Now the din comes back and is all encompassing. Yeah. Each one has a different re'i, a different aspect. Both eid echad, as I explained, and hoidah speed, modeh bemiktzas. But by the way, these are two places in the Torah, only 2 out of 3, when a person is chayiv shvua. Either there's eid echad against him, or he himself is modeh bemiktzas even without an eid. These are the 2 cases in the Torah where you see a person is chayiv shvua. Atzad the shavish ben. What's the common denominator between eid echad against the guy and a guy who's modeh bemiktzas? Listen to this: shalidei taina ukfira and boin benishba. Those 2, there's a case of taina and kfira. In both cases, Reuven claims against Shimon, and Shimon is koifer. Either Shimon is completely koifer, and then he sees Reuven has 1 eid on his side, or Shimon is koifer half of part of it. But both cases are, generally speaking, there's kfira, there's a taina from one guy, there's an accusation, a claim, and there's a guy who's koifer, and the Torah says you have to be nishba. Af ani avi eidim shalidei taina ukfira and boin v'nishba. Full stop. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. We're almost there. With the end of stage 1. Eidim, same thing. If I am approaching Chankale and I have 2 eidim on what? On 50 out of 100, I say, mister, you have to be nishba on the rest. And we created the construction here structure created by both eid echad and a dospiv. Now you have to see the Tosfos. This Tosfos is what I spoke about yesterday. The second Tosfos is just, you can absolutely not miss it. We have to see it. It's a short Tosfos. You see it word for word. Yeah. What one doesn't have, the other one does. Why not? We see that that's the logic of the Torah. Yeah. No. You see it? No, we're not sticking things with no kesher. We do. You see the Torah's logic. Besides Shavuos Shomerim, the only 2 places that the Torah itself says the person has to be nishba is only 2. Besides Soita. Soita is not money. The only 2 cases besides another one, you have to be nishba, either eid echad, or, you know what? You have to see Tosfos. You know, I'm wasting my time. When you see Tosfos, all questions will disappear. Very yesodid Tosfos. Atzad shavish ben shel ditay nevkfir. The timer. Factors. Prefer call Yomi. Wait a second. What happens if Reuven comes to Shimon and Shimon says, "Go take a walk. Go see a shrink." Nothing. I don't owe you anything at all. Min Torah, not midorabanan. What do we say? Doesn't have to be nishba. Go home. I don't have to be nishba. Says Tosfos. Wait a second. Shalidei tainu kfira. There too there's a tainu kfira. If you want to make this beautiful common denominator between all shvuas, whenever you have a taina, a claim, and a denial, Well, and you always chayiv, not always chayiv, patur. You see that in the case of kofer bakol, denies everything. There's a taina, there's a whooping kfira, and yet he's patur from Shavua. The formula is fault. His fault, he says, Tosus and Ritva and many other Rishonim. The Yesh Loimer answers Tosus, prepare yourself to have great fun. The Batzad Shavish Ben Yeshtaina Chashuva, the taina of a person that comes with an aid. It's an aid, Chashuv. Or a person that comes and his friend says, 50 something maybe. The bemiktzas, oy ed makhisho nira de meshaker. It looks like he's lying. Ulekach yesh shvua. Explains in Mukhe Yosef and the Ritva, taina is not any taina. If I come to my friend because I'm in a funny mood and I say, you owe me $100, that's a shtus. Once the person denies it completely, there's no grounds to my taina. I have no eidim, not even one aid. He's completely denying, go home. That's not called a taina. It's just not a taina, it's shtuyot, d'oraisa. However, the two places that are Torah, now you'll see the connection, where you see there's some fault, detective story. There's some kind of, something is faulty on the side of the one protecting himself, the accused, either the accuser, the plaintiff has an eid echod, which with d'oraisa has clout, or the other side says 50 shmifty nifty, which means he's buying time. He's not completely denying. Where there's smoke, there's fire. The common denominator looks like the other side is lying. Same thing is what is when a person comes and now two eidim were made that half the stuff is really his, and the guy lied. Oho, nira kemeshaker. Of course, you have to be nishba. 50 flavors of ice cream. No, leave Gilgal Shvur alone. We're kilometers behind that. Behind it. No. We don't have to come out to Gilgal. No, it's not shaykh, as we proved, and we don't have to come out to it. We have a beautiful raya. Right. Now, frag the Gemara on a major question. Yeah. Frag the Gemara, Malat Tzad Shovesh Shabahen, line starts with word Shabahen, Sheken Loi Huchzak Kafron. How can you compare the two cases of what? Eid Echad, right? And modeh bemiktzas. In both these cases, do you know that the guy is a liar? No. One aid against another person who don't know that he lied. One aid is a little bit of a suspicion to make him be nishba. And a person who's modeh bemiktzas, we don't know that he lies. It smells bad. There's smoke, but there's no fire. We don't yet know that he's a liar. Frag the Gemara back to square one. Remember what was their issue b'chlal with the guy taking shvua? As Tzvi said at the beginning, the guy's a liar. He was caught right out lying. He says, I don't owe you nothing. And two eidim, nothing beats them. They're the best CCTV camera. And what? And they say you lied about 50. So how can you build an entire building where the base is missing? You want to tell me, no. How do you prove it? From where? You're proving me from cases where either the guy's modeh bemiktzas, we don't know that he lied. No, maybe he's saying the truth. Imagine if I borrow from you $100 and you want to have a good mood, you play a trick on me and you claim 200. No, maybe I'm right that it's only 100. We don't know that he lied. It's a suspect. You come with your 1/8. 1/8 is not for sure like a movie that we saw. So in those cases, we don't know that he lied. So therefore, there's shvua. How can you prove about a guy who talks against two eidim that he still believed to be nishba? That's a question. And that breaks Rav Chiyah's formula. Answers the Gemara, no. Surprise. Here's a shiur badan lekaf schus. Musar shiur comes along. Dr. Gemara, ube'edim nihuch zakafran. Wow. How do you know that if a person talks against eidim, how do you know that he is actually what? That he's a kafran? Did you hear that? How do you know that a person denies two eidim? How do you know he's a liar? Wow. Did Rabbi Tachtel lie to you all your life? Explains the Gemara. The Omer of Idi Baravi and Omer of Chizda. Listen to this. I want you to tell me, everybody who learned Bava Kama, what's the difference between a person who holds halva money, loan money, and the person who holds in his pocket money that is a deposit? What's the difference regarding basic question regarding the amonis, regarding am I allowed to touch the money, take the money? not to deposit. But the one that's halva, of course he's meant to use it. That's halva. Says the Gemara. And how do you call it in Chinese? Milve loitza nitna. Milva, and it's a big shail in Lomdus, the second it came to the person's pocket, the borrower, the money is kilo already his. It's meant to be given to his next vacation or the chassan or paying the makolet. It's kilo not in his pocket. The money expected back is new money. It's like, a whole exchange. The pikodon, don't touch the pikodon with your little finger. It's a very, very different world. And therefore, says the Gemara, a koifer b'milve kosher leidus, bepikodon posel leidus. One simple line. Let me explain. A koifer b'milve. Let's say a person denied milve. Yanko, I'm sorry. Do you remember I lent you $100 a month ago? I need it now. Says Yanko, no, I never borrowed. Two eidim come and they say liar. You, Yanko, you borrowed from Akiva $100. Yanko is still a kosher Jew with long payas dangling down his cheeks, so nice. And he's even kosher le'edus. Yeah, at someone's daughter's wedding, he'll be able to be an aid with a smartphone or without, I don't know. And now what? And now why can he be an aid? He's not a liar. He's not a liar. The two aidim said that he borrowed and said he didn't borrow. You know why? This guy, again, is the guy who buys time. $100 are not in his pocket now. And that is of itself legal. The $100, they were made that he borrowed a month ago. And it's true. It's true that he's lying, but he's not a thief. Not every liar is a thief, which means it's true that he borrowed. He doesn't have the $100 now, which is of itself okay. It's true right now, it's in the hands of the Makolit guy, it's in the hands of the Gmach guy, the hands of the Zimmer owner. But Lemaisa, he wants to buy time, he denies and says, okay, I'll pay later, like our Mr. Modeh bemiktzas. So such a guy, we assume the best, and we down the kaf schus, and we say kosher leidus, and so too kosher also, of course, l'shvua. A koifer bepikodon, also leidus. If a person says, did I deposit it in your pocket as a deposit? So you look after it nicely, like the bank, I wish. Yeah, then what? And he says, I don't have it. No excuses. Rashi brings down more. I don't have time to give our other cases. Begadol, because you're not meant to touch. We're not going to say, well, he used the picodon, yeah, and now he doesn't have it. But why is he using the picodon? They're like, I buy time until I regain the picodon. Why did you touch the picodon? Chief. Email there is possible edus. Very good. Our case, by the way, we did not stress it enough, is about halva. The whole of Rav Chiyah's story, for reasons which I will not go into now, is halva. No, says Rav Chiyah, I am right. If the two eidim say that he owes him 50, he's not a downright liar. He's a guy who borrowed. The money is still avodot chutz, is still outside in someone else's pocket, and he hopes to get it back from the other guy soon, or get his salary soon, and they'll be able to pay it back. He's a guy who's a liar, white liar, is not a thief. This guy's kosher leidus and kosher l'shvu on the rest. And yes, he's as good as the modeh bemiktzas, and the guy gets an eid echad. So far, Rav Chiyah is winning. Give me ches, give me yud. Rav Chiyah is making it. Yeah. And la pori chochi. Now the Gemara is another claim against Rav Chiyah. They say chista Rav Chiyah. It's Rav Chiyah all the time. A quick question. We're getting a little bit short, tight on time, but you can still ask your questions. Yes. Break the Gemara. Now we're going to come up with a new question. So the structure of Rav Chiyah is good. Now the question is different. Yeah. We still want to, actually, no, the structure is not yet good. We still want to differentiate between who? The team of who's the team? Eid Echad and modeh bemiktzas against the other team of two eidim. Eidim b'Torah Sazama. Everybody here knows what's eidim zoymimim. Now, eidim zoymimim don't apply to hoidah, and then don't apply to eid echad either. Let me explain. Let's say the person says, let's say I say to Chamyanko, oh, I'm so sorry. Last week we were together in a restaurant last Sunday, and you lent me $100. I owe you $100. Came to eidim against me. Akiva, last Sunday, you're not in a restaurant, you're in Bis Medrash. So maybe now I'm denied and I'm a liar. No, my hoidah is stronger than all eidim. I cannot be denied. I'm a different story altogether. No, I cannot be muzam or denied. I don't have hazama. Yeah, I will still have to give him the $100. Why? It's like a gift. Or like Mechila, I decided to give him $100. The fact, if I'm a liar about where my location was last Sunday, lo kashu. It's not a regular edus. It's more than edus. It's my super uber nemanus. So even if I lied about my location and said restaurant business, kashu. What does that have to do with anything? I decided to owe him $100. You close your mouth, please. You eidim. What about eid echad? That's very interesting. Eid echad doesn't have hazama. Let's say one aid comes and says, Reuven borrowed from Shimon $1,000, and then eidim come. Reuven, you the aid liar. You said Reuven borrowed from Shimon or whatever the other way the money. You were with us in Haifa. This aid doesn't get any punishment. You don't give him any punishment. Not even Malchus. Becharus is a big master in Makos as well as other Masechtas. You don't do anything to that eid echad. Why does eid echad go scot free? Because all the eid echad could do is only Mechayev Shavua. Very nice. Keep it for later. Eid echad, to begin with, all he can do is this procedure of Shavua. Eid echad cannot really impose an oynish on the other person. Therefore, eid echad doesn't have hazama. Toimer be'edim sheyeshnen b'toras hazama. So now the Gemara wants to say maybe eidim are weaker than who? Than both modeh, bemiktzas, and somebody and eid echad, because both modeh and eid echad are not punishable by hazama, while shnei eidim, as every child knows, are very punishable by hazama. So maybe eidim are weaker than them, so therefore they can be mechayev shvua, while shnei eidim cannot be mechayev shvua. The answer lies in what you said. Alakasha, mapitom, that's not difficult. Rabbi Chiyah toras hazama loy porich. Rabbi Chiyah does not fret from hazama. Why? Hazama regarding hoidah is because hazama has nothing to do with hoidah, because my location just has nothing to do with anything. What about eid echad? As Tzvi correctly said, I'll give you a very nice example. Let's say I want to feel good about myself. I want to be balgaiva, and me, Akiva Taichtal, and you know me pretty well by now, I'm going to go to, to Mackenzie's nephew. And Mackenzie, you know what happened with him lately? He studies math, very, very high math, where? In Harvard, in Yale, and he failed the test. I will go and tell me, no, I never failed math tests in Harvard, so I'm better than you. Right? It's a true statement. I never failed any math tests in my fourth year math in Harvard. Is that a koyach of me? No, it's my weakness. I would even dream, Obviously, that's the same thing with Eid Echad. The fact Eid Echad is not Bahazama is not because he's stronger than two Eidim, because he's weaker. Eid Echad, all he can do is a legal procedure called Shvua. It's not called Vasisam Lakashazomam La'asois. He's not going to do anything to the other side except for making a Shvua. He's not going to punish or make married, make divorced, or kill or take out money of his pocket. Shkoyach. That's why the Eid Echad doesn't have Hazama. Mimele says Rav Chiyah doesn't begin the whole story. Rav Chiyah stays strong. Mimele says Rav Chiyah, Hazama, do me a favor, leave Hazama out of the story. Hazama is not stronger than Eidim. And if you want to tell me it is, then Eidim are as strong. Elamai must be again. Rav Chiyah sticks to his guns. Says Rav Chiyah, and with that he remains. And he's right. What is the statement again? We saw two places in the Holy Torah where the Torah is Mechayev Shvua. Eid Echad, with the plaintiff, right? Or no Eid Echad, but the other guy is fidgeting, being moed apart, which shows shaky. Then we Mechayev Shvua. So to Shnei Eidim on 50 will be Mechayev Shvua on the other 50, and that is true. Ella, now we're in a mission here. It looks like we're in a mission against Rav Chizda, because the Gemara is going to basically analyze each and every piece of Rav Chizda and going to try to attack each and every part of Rav Chizda's statement. So the actual structure, the statement of Rav Chizda is true. What was the other part of Rav Chizda? Let's keep scanning. Rav Chizda said, I have a proof from our Mishnah. Remember Rav Chiyah's proof? I'm sorry, it's Rav Chiyah, not Rav Chizda. What is Rav Chiyah's proof? Rav Chiyah said, look, I'm right. Why? Look at our Mishnah. What happens in our Mishnah? The Tanatuna, I'm not reading in the Gemara, I'm reminding you from the outside. Reuven is holding the talis. Reuven has two eidim. Reuven says, the entire talis is mine. Each and every fiber, each and every piece of that, each and every little microscopic piece belongs to me, says Reuven. And Shimon says, Reuven says, look, I have two eidim. My two hands are my two eidim. Holding it, chazaka, physical chazaka, is as strong as eidim anan sahadi, and therefore you have to be nishba, same structure. there's 100 in dispute. 50, I have eidim are mine. You benishba on the other 50. That's how Rav Chiyah wanted to compare the Mishnah to his case of 2 eidim made on half. Correct the Gemara, I don't like that comparison. Ela de Komer v'tana tuna. When he wanted to compare it to our Tana, to our Mishnah, that's what I don't like. Says the Gemara, mi dami. What's the comparison? What did they tell about the Mishnah? We focus on one guy, and then we make like a mirror image on the other guy. The Gemara says, I don't like that. Awesome over there. Lemalve isle sahadi. In Rav Chiyah's case, the malve has eidim on how much? 50. Leloive, the loive has no eidim. Loive is alone, high and dry in the tower. Leisle sahadi, deloy masikle veloy midi. The loive has no eidim that he did not borrow. Let's say the loive sometimes has eidim that let's say returned 50. The loive has no eidim whatsoever. Okay, so one side has strong eidim, at least in half. The other side is defenseless. The ihavule sahadi leloive. Let's say the accused part, the loive would have had eidim deloy masikle veloy midi, that he doesn't owe him anything. Let's say that, or at least about the other half, there would be eidim that he doesn't owe him, or he doesn't owe him the other 50. He returns the other 50. Of course, Rabbi Chiyah wouldn't say they have to make a shvua. In other words, if Reuven claims Yomi 100, I have eidim on 50, and Shimon would say, okay, stop shouting. Where are you? Yomi shiur. I have eidim that are returned 50. Then of course he doesn't have to take shvua. Because of Reuven's eidim, you give 50 to Reuven. And Shimon doesn't have to give anything else, anything more than that, because there's eidim, he doesn't owe anything more. And then there wouldn't be any shvua involved. Eidim versus eidim. Where's the shvua? Over here in our Mishnah, it's exactly like having 2 eidim. Our Mishnah has eidim on both sides. And Rav Chiyah never spoke about that. It's very funny, the Mishnah. They both are the tovea and the nitba, right? They're both the plaintiff and the accused. But the both sides have eidim for their benefit, for their credit, right? And still you say to take shvua. It has nothing to do with Rav Chiyah. Again, let's repeat. You can't play let's focus on one guy and ignore the other guy and then play the same game. No. Stop telling me mirror. We're not in the mirror room in the amusement park here, says the Gemara. Be real. Lamaisa, the story of our Mishnah is both sides have 2 hands, which are like 2 eidim. Reuven has eidim on his tviyah, and Shimon has eidim on his defense. Even if you play mirror image, one side, Reuven has eidim on his claim, and Shimon has eidim also on what he claims he doesn't owe. Even if you play it one-sided. In such a case, Rav Chiyah never spoke about that. You, Rav Chiyah, never spoke about such a case. So the shvua of our Mishnah doesn't make sense according to you. So there's no proof for you. Let me ask you a question. Opa, and I was very happy when I saw this Rashi. So why is there shvua in the Mishnah? Leave Rav Chiyah alone for a minute. Rav Chiyah doesn't have a good proof from the Mishnah. So why do we need really a raya in the Mishnah if both sides have eidim? Why do you need shvua on top of that? Remember the opponent of Rav Chiyah? That was Rabbi Yochanan at the beginning of Daf Gimel. Rabbi Yochanan said, really, the shvua is the Rabbanon. It's not a modeh bemiktzas shvua d'oraisa like you want to say. Rabbi Chiyah wants to claim a d'oraisa shvua. No. Remember the shvua d'Rabbanon, Rabbi Yochanan? You have to remember it. In other words, Rabbanon made a takana. Rabbanon saw at some point the people are less honest than they used to be, sadly so. And they said, if I walk down the street in the Merkaz Mischari with my nice Shabbos jacket in my hand, and it's a nice Shabbos jacket, and the other guy wants to take it, he'll grab half. He's stronger than me, and I'll grab and he'll grab. We'll go to the Beis over of Cornfield Appalooz, we'll run it together, and he'll get half. So there will be a scandal, a jungle, a Gehenim here. Mimela, there's a Zaitedike Shvua, and top of the 2 eidim, Kilu, that our hands are, we still want to make another security alert. Like you want to enter a Google account and you go crazy, it's another security alert on top of that of Shvua. But it's not Rav Chiyah's Shvua. Rav Chiyah may be right. Rav Chiyah proved himself right. He sort of proved to us that the Shvua of the remainder of the 2 eidim d'oraisa, but it's not the Shvua of the Mishnah. The Shvua of the Mishnah is just a side Shvua d'Rabbanon for extra safety, extra security. Therefore, we sort of dissected, the Mishnah from Rav Chiyah. The Mishnah is a shvur d'Rabbanan that that people shouldn't attack, shouldn't charge and take the talis from the friend and create the chaos. That's all. Nothing to do with Rav Chiyah. Rav Chiyah is right and the Mishnah is right. There's two different kinds of shvur. That's what we're saying now. A shvur, the guy who wants to make a nice catch on my jacket, maybe a shakran, maybe even a thief, but he's not at kidat kach b'nish b'lasheker. That's the assumption. And also, Jeff, it's a good point. We don't know that he caught it. Right? He's not against eidim. Maybe we both caught it together, right? Maybe we both picked it up together. Maybe we both bought it from the dry cleaner. Ella. So therefore, the Gemara does want to defend Rav Chiyah now for a change. Ki itmar v'tana tuna. So now we do know the Rav Chiyah did say v'tana tuna. Rav Chiyah did, like you like to call it, to pin the donkey, the tail to the donkey, lahavdil. We want to pin the statement to the Tana Tuna, meaning Rav Chiyah proves something from our Mishnah. To prove Rav Chiyah's story of eidim made on 50 and Inishba on the other 50, you can't prove it from our Mishnah. Because the Mishnah is not one-sided. It's not one has eidim, the other doesn't. You can't ignore the both of eidim. Leave that alone. Therefore, must be, when Rav Chiyah did say, I'm proving something from the Mishnah, that you have to pin it to a different statement of Rav Chiyah. What's the other statement? Welcome to the world of Heilach. Idach the Rav Chiyah. This is on a different statement of Rav Chiyah. Idach is different. Itmal. Dama Rav Chiyah. Says Rav Chiyah. Listen to this. Heilach, by the way, is a development, is like a variation on the theme of modeh bemiktzas. Listen to the story. Hello, Mr. Chamyanko. I feel bad, but it's the second time I'm approaching you, or the third time, or the first time. Yomi $100. 100? No, Akiva. It's really 50. What is this guy called? MB. Modeh bemiktzas. But he added a magic word. The heilach, and here you are. Heilach means there you are. Bevakasha, or some people say tevakasha. Yeah. In other words, he says, 50 I owe you, and here they are, which means it's a halva, but I didn't yet use it. The halva is closed in an envelope. It's in my drawer. You're welcome to take it, and it's yours. I'll call my wife right now. Stop being hysterical with me, okay? I'm calling my wife right now and texting and WhatsApping and emailing her. Dear lady, please allow the guy into the house. Let him take the $50 that I owe him and go home. What's the question over here? There are two ways how to view that in some machlokas. On one hand, you can say, modeh bemiktzas. Reuven says to Shimon, you owe me 100, right? And Shimon says, only 50. I think that's called modeh bemiktzas, chayiv shvua. But can you hear another side here? What?
Can't use the excuse that I don't have. I'm going to be getting the money, so he is trying to stall for time. The Halach says,
even before
it cancels that his ability to.
But even before, you're right. But you're in the second floor. I'm in the first floor. You have a point. We can say it even simpler. I'm not saying you're wrong, but when I say I only owe you 50, right, and here they are, even a kiva tachtel know that the balance is 0. So that's call for bakol. It's like I denied everything. If I say I owed 50, but I quickly paid the 50, so right now, when he faces in Beis Din, and let's be dramatic and say the $50 are in the pocket of the plaintiff, right now they're arguing over 50, and those 50 denies completely. So I can maybe see him as kol for bakol. Of course, it's such a tzad. Why? Doicha? Why? Lemaisa, there is no more dispute. There is a dispute, not over half. The dispute, the 50 became 100%. Even I know that. If there was 50 and 50 and 150, Heilach, goodbye, out of the story. So now the other 50 became 100% dispute. So, and over that 100%, he sticks his feet in the ground. I don't want to use 0 from the remainder of 50, which now became 100%. So maybe you can see that as kol for bakol. Last time I checked, kol for bakol is poter mishmua completely. You can say the other side because the machlokas amoraim, so what I always say is good. I'm just presenting two tzdadim here. I'm just explaining the story. What you say is above that already, but that's basics. It's not even modeh bemiktzas. You're happy, yeah? Exactly. Which means now there's no. But he's not going. The other side, the toveh still claims they have other 50, and he denies it completely. So now they're really arguing about something that he's completely denying, the new matzav. Or maybe you can say like tzvi. The other side is like you. No, Lemai said there's a whole tvia of what? Of 100, right? Only 50 he is playing, he admits. 50 is playing games with me. The fact he gave me, thank you very much, you gave me. Lemaisa, it does not close the case. It's still the same old case of dispute over 100 and a do over 50. Says Rav Chiyah, Chayev. Rav Chiyah holds that, I'm sorry, that, like tzvi, Chayev, he's still Chayev Shvua. My time, why? Heilach nami, kemoide bemiktzas atayna dami. A heilach is like modeh bemiktzas atayna. A person who denies half, although the one that he admits, the party admits he is making available right away, still considered to be modeh bemiktzas, and he still has to take shvuah. Now, how does he prove that? That he proves from our Mishnah. That he proves from our Mishnah. V'tanatuna, says our Mishnah, Shnayim oichzin batalis. Same story by us. The hocha, this needs a lot of explanation, which I worked hard on, and the Ritva explains. I'll just translate it, and tomorrow we'll go to the deeper explanation. Says like this: what happens in a Mishnah? Kevin the Tofis, one guy, each one looking at it from what the other perspective, is holding the money. Anan Sahadi, we are Sahadi, the Maidi Tofis, Helachu. The dispute over talis of 100, part of the 100 was given by force. It's a forced Helach. When Shimon says, it's all mine, it's all mine, it's all mine. Thank you, Shimon. You can scream from today till tomorrow, says the Ritva, but you know you're just saying shtiyot, because Reuven is holding 50 and his hands are as strong as yours, right? So it's like Helach. It's similar generally to denying, but it's as if you admit it, says the Ritva. Because you're talking shtiyot, you know that the other side is having the 50. I says the Ritva, very nice. It's like, you know, the Ritva says, which I liked, he says, it's like the guy says, I don't owe you, I'm still giving you. You know, he wants to be right. You know, these people, you know, I'll be the right one, I'll still give you. Says the Ritva, that's the guy. When Shimon screamed, fine, it's all mine, it's all mine, it's all mine. But Reuven is holding half. So it's Ke'ilu Shimon gave it to Reuven against his will. So it's not really denying everything. It's Ke'ilu he admits to half, and he gave half Ke'ilu to Reuven. That's Helach. The Ktani Shava. And yet you see that even though this is Helach, still Shimon has to take Shvuah. You're going to tell me mirror image? Here there's no problem with mirror image at all. Why? Because I'll tell you why. Says the Ritva beautifully. I'll say the Ritva now. Stay here one more minute, you have to hear it. In the previous case of eidim, of one against the other, there has to be an imbalance. There has to be a seesaw. One side has eidim, he's stronger against the other weaker side. I have eidim against you, liar. You're denying the other half, swear. That's the whole vort over there. Once they both have eidim, you lost the whole case of eidim against one. It's eidim against eidim. The case of Helach, there are no eidim. There are no eidim. It's all about reality. It's his eidah and giving the part that he admitted to the other side. Says the Ritva, here we could play a game of, let's say that holding the hands is not eidim. Let's imagine there are no eidim around. Let's say the chazaka is not eidim. So what do you have here? You have a double halach, and that's fine. No eidim involved. I claim it's all mine, and you say it's all yours. And when I claim it's all mine, I know it's not really all mine because you're holding half. So it's kilo, I admitted 50 and I gave it to you, and you gave me also. But we still have to take shvuah. We still have to take shvuah because I do deny and I do hold half and deny half from you. For that, there have to be nishba. Helach does work by mirror image because you don't have to have eidim of one side working against the other. It's all about the person's goodwill. Goodwill of Helach, of being admitting, can work both ways nicely. Love and peace. Ritva, I love him. That's what the Ritva explains. That's why this answer is better than the other one. You should know the Toysas, Rishonim, they break their head over it. And this Ritva is beautiful. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. What? Again, the Ritva says as follows. The reason why our Mishnah was not a good proof from the previous Mahalach of eidim bemiktzas, that's because the whole vort of Reuven forcing Shimon into Shvuah is superiority.
I have eidim and you don't. You're telling me stories, funny issues here. I have eidim against that. Rabbi, please be nishba and say goodbye. Right? In our Mishnah, that doesn't work. Because you can't play, let's say there's only one guy. What do you mean? There are two guys, there are two eidim. If my two hands are my two eidim, the other side also has two eidim. What's the reason to be nishba? We're equals. We're not in superiority versus inferiority. That's then. So you can't prove Rav Chiyah from our Mishnah. Must be our Mishnah was about stam. It's a rabbanon thing. This mahalach is a different story. When I say halach has to be nishba, I'm saying a person is modeh bemiktzas. He's such a nice guy. He's modeh and gives me the 50 right away on a silver platter. Now we have a dispute about the other half. He has to be nishba. That can work mutually. Imagine that the tfisa is not eidim. Leave eidim alone, says the Ritzvah. Imagine it's not eidim, it's less than eidim. Then what? Then you have a double halach. Double halach can work. Reuben says to Shimon, you owe me. Imagine yourself, Reuben, that can happen in real life. Reuben claims to Shimon, I lent you $1,000, and Shimon lent him $1,000 in a different day. Now they come to Beis Din for both charges together. It's not science fiction. It happens a lot in the business world, right? It's called counter claim, counter suing. Yet viat neged. So the same thing here. So there is a double halach, which means when Shimon screams, "It's all mine," he knows in reality that he'd like to be all his, but he's seeing Reuben holding it tight and saying, "Mine, mine, mine." He's forced to be modeh bemiktzas and give it because Reuben has it. It's keilu some magic force took the $50 out of the accused and put it in the pocket of Reuben. Gamarnu, that's halach, and halach may work both ways. Lama lo. Both sides are halach, guys, and both sides should be nishba on the rest. And that's what the Mishnah said. And that could be a very nice raya for who? For Rav Chiyah. On the halach business. Just to make you feel good. Rav Sheshes Amar halach potur. Rav Sheshes argues on Rav Chiyah. Tomorrow we'll see Rav Sheshes' side of the story. Rav Sheshes says it's potur mishvua. Why? Rav Sheshes says, like I was trying to convince Rabbi Rosen, Rav Sheshes says, if I paid the 50 that you claimed and I agreed to, it's case closed. Case closed. They paid you or made it available for you. Now you're talking about the other 50. Listen to my words. I'm right. 50 became 100%. Now we're only arguing about the other 50, and I'm denying each and every dime of that 50. Yes, Gvul, Rabbi. 50 I gave you. I admit that I was honest with you. The other 50, not even 1 penny, 1 dime, 1 agora I owe you from there. So that became a new tvia of Chayfer Bakol. Chayfer Bakol is not Chayf Shbuah. Oh, that's the question. Is it a reset or not? Okay, I have two tzdadim. But that you have Rav Chiyah and Rav Sheshes. Halach has a lot of lomdas. Halach is a deep issue. We're just touching the surface for now. Baruch Hashem, thank you very much. Wow, miracle. This Amud was the easiest Amud you've ever seen in your life. Right? For sure. Okay, have a good day. This was